everyone, this is Amanda at Amanda's Booktopia. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And today, I am unhauling some more books. Yes, I've done a major unhaul already, but after looking through my books a little bit more, I decided there is actually more I could get rid of. So that's what I'm doing today. We're gonna get rid of more books. So there's one that I have attempted to read in DNF. And there's a duology where I love the first one, the second one not as much, but I'm not going to reread. So might as well just dive right into these books. So the first I'm going to share is this trilogy. First one's called The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco. I attempted to read the first one and I DNF'd it. And I own the whole series, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of the whole series. I mean, there's no point in keeping it when I DNF'd the first one. So that's what I'm doing with these ones. And then a duology I was talking about is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I absolutely love One Dark Window. Two Twisted Crowns was just 3-star for me. But in all honesty, I don't think I'm going to reread. So I decided we'll give the duology to somebody else who wants to read it. And then I have another series, sort of, kind of. It's book 1 and 2. Book 1 is Sky Without Stars, and book 2 is Between Burning Worlds. These are like historical with fantasy. And it's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? A retelling of sorts of Les Miserables, but with fantasy. And I really enjoy these books. Like, I enjoyed the first one so long ago. I can't remember even when I read the first one. It was that long ago. And I bought book 2 like around this same time that I started around my channel. And honestly, I don't remember anything anymore, and I don't think I'm ever going to go back and reread. And that's the main reason why I'm getting rid of this. But I do recommend the first one. Because I remember when I read it, I loved it. I just don't think I'm ever going to go back and read again. So I still recommend the first one. And then the next book that I have is Beyond the Ruby Veil by Mara Fitzgerald. I got this for clearance at Books A Million. It was like $5. But in all honesty, after thinking about it, I'm never going to read. And also the synopsis gives away a little bit too much. Basically, it tells me the whole story in one go. So I don't feel like I really need to read this. So I'm going to get rid of that. Next we have The Bells by Danielle Clayton. Honestly, the main reason why I even got this was really because Holly Black blurbed it. And I love Holly Black. However, I don't think I'm going to be getting to this, if at all. Even though it sounded interesting. It takes place in New Orleans, and there's fantasy. So and I bought this at Barnes & Noble a few years ago. I think it was the first year or second year of my channel, I cannot remember. But I'm never going to get to this, so I decided we'll move it on to somebody else. And then the next one I am getting rid of is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. I've actually heard really good things about this one, but in all honesty, I don't think I'm ever going to get to it. However, if it is on KU, I don't know if it is, but if it is, I will give it a go on there. I just don't feel like I need a physical copy. But the only reason why I was even interested in reading it in the first place was because it had Bachelor references. And I love that show. But honestly, I don't need a physical copy anymore. So we're going to move this on to somebody else. And the next book, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one. Because my besties love this book and this series. And don't get me wrong, I gave the first book 5 stars. But this one was the worst one for me in the series. And I recently read the 3rd book in the series and enjoyed that more than this one. So honestly, I don't feel like I really need to keep this because I gave it 2 stars. And that's Foxglove by Idle and Grace. I know my besties are gonna be like, what's wrong with you? Honestly, it just wasn't the book for me, unfortunately. I loved Belladonna though. Belladonna was the best one. Out of all 3 books, the first one was the best. I just don't think I really don't feel like I need to keep this anymore. So this will be moved on. However, it is a really, really beautiful book because of the end. These end pages are so pretty. And this hardback is absolutely stunning. I mean, look at that. And look at this. That was the main reason why I even kept this book for as long as I have. Was because the hardback is stunning. Absolutely stunning. It really, really is. However, I did not love this book. So for that reason is why I'm going to move this along. Alright, next book is Starbringer by Tracy Wolff and Nina Croft. I have read from Tracy Wolff before with Crave, and this the second book I think is called Crush. I have Crush it over there. I was like trying in my head to read the spine, but I prefer to continue that series. This one is more sci-fi tailored, and sci-fi is not really a genre that I really read. And after much thought, I decided I am not going to keep this one. Even though it sounds interesting, it's really not my genre, and I just don't know if I'm going to like it. I mean, it has some fantasy aspects in the sci-fi, but in all honesty, I'm never going to read this book. So it's time to give it a go. I mean, it's time to unhaul it. It's not give it a go. Don't know why I just said that. Alright, and the next one we have is actually an art copy that I went off at GoodReads. That is A Mastery of Monsters by Lizelle Sandberry. I wanted to read this for a while, and then I've just lost interest. So that's the only reason why I'm giving this one up. I mean, I'm sure it's good. I've heard really great things about this author in general. But I also unhauled Delicious Monsters when I did my big unhaul. However, like, I honestly don't think I'm ever going to read this. So it's time to get rid of it. And then the next book we've got is called Midnight Strikes by Zeba Shanaz. I'm probably saying that wrong. I got this from Books A Million like a few years ago. Like around the time I started my channel. It sounded really good, which is why I got it. But in all honesty, I am never going to get to it. And I know absolutely nothing about it. Something about when midnight strikes, things happen, or something doesn't happen. I don't know. I'm never going to read this, so unfortunately this will be another unhaul. And then next book we have is called Blood Circus by Camila Victor. If this is on KU, I might borrow it off of there because I was interested. However, I don't feel like I need the physical copy anymore. I know I bought this a few years ago. I mean, the hardback, you could kind of, like, if you look really closely, you can see some of the shapes of, like, the moon and stuff on the hardback. But I just don't think I'm ever going to get to this. And, like, I have other books I'd rather read right now, and this one's just not one of those. But I remember when I read the synopsis, there's something about a circus, and it was compared to, like, the Hunger Games or something like that. I mean, the book says, in this world, death is a performance, and she is on stage. So it sounds interesting. If it's on KU, maybe I'll try it off of there. I just don't need to keep a physical copy anymore, because I'm never going to get to it with it being on my shelves. Alright, and we have 2 books left in this unhaul. Next one, I've heard mixed things about, more good than bad. However, I'm never going to get to it. So that is Salt Kiss by Sierra Simone. I know her books are spicy, and I'm not sure if this is on KU. If it is, maybe I'll try it off of there. Just, unfortunately, I am never going to read this, and it's time to get rid of it. And I need space on top of that. Because I'm going to be reorganizing my shelves and I need to get rid of some more books. So this book I just decided I'm never going to read. You move it on to the next person. The last book in this unhaul. I DNF'd this one. I actually attempted to start reading it like the very end of December going into January. And this is very unfortunate because I really wanted to love this because there's so much hype surrounding this book. But turns out hyped books are ones that I usually end up not loving. I've kind of noticed that about me lately. And like, the books that I tend to love are not as talked about. But this one was way too overhyped, and I think that's the reason why. And I just could not connect to the characters. So this is We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. Stasia. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Because I know somebody named Stacia, so I spell the same way. So I wasn't sure. But I did get this from Book of the Month in December. However, it was just not for me. I desperately wanted to love it. I could not connect to the characters. And, well, it's just unfortunate. Because I really loved A Court So Cruel and Lovely by her. That was 5 stars for me. This one does not compare, unfortunately. And there were times I was very confused. And like, the whole vampire world in this makes no sense whatsoever. Like, we get no explanation from the bit that I've read. So I'm like, you know what? Unfortunately, we will be unhauling this one. So, yeah. Hype books, not for me. And that is all the books I have in this unhaul. I think there's like 17 something books here that I'll be getting rid of. Which is great, because I need to get rid of stuff that I could make room on my shelves for when I reorganize. I will be working on my reorganization on Sunday. So, these 17 books are gotta go. I hope you enjoy this video. If you made it this far into the video and you don't feel like being chatty, why don't you leave me a... what should you leave me? Why don't you leave me a vampire for We Who Will Die? I can't even remember the title right. But because that was probably my worst book out of all these books, it makes sense to give a vampire emoji. I hope you loved this video. If you did, make sure you give me a huge thumbs up. If you want to see more bookish content from me, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below. And I'll see you all in the next one.